No, I don't know that even I don't know that Leonard Maltin would actually call himself a film critic. He's certainly a talented writer, and he's very interested in Hollywood's past. He was not a big fan of Gremlins, and so I asked him when I was going to do Gremlins 2. I said I was desperate to get cameos in the movie. I said, if you be in Gremlins 2, you can do your bad review of Gremlins right on camera, and then we'll have Gremlins kill you. And he said, okay. And so that's what we did. And that's very nice of you to say, but I don't really feel that my writing has been that influential. I don't know. Tim must have been reading these things very carefully because I can't even remember what I wrote. But I do remember that I did, and the people who did these magazines did take this genre seriously. And for a long time, when I was up until the time I was a young man, genre films were not taken seriously at all. They were in Europe, but they were not here. To try to find an intelligent review written in America of a Mario Bava movie or a Roger Corman movie was virtually impossible. All the good classic film books, like The Liveliest Art and 101 Nights at the Movies, and all, they were always about either silent films or quote-unquote classics. And you'd go to the index in the back and you'd look for Frankenstein or Dracula or whatever. Then there would never be a reference to it. But then as my generation started to write, there started to be books about genre, and people started to take it more seriously. To a point now where I think there's some tremendous writing about movies in general, and the genre in particular, and a lot of it is on the internet, amazingly. It's just there's so much of it you have to. My list of favorites is like so long of like websites I want to visit to see what somebody has to say. Whereas in the old days, I used to haunt magazine stands, and I used to get Sight and Sound and Films and Filming and Continental Film Review, which had nudity in it. Had all the topless scenes from The Face of Fu Manchu, that they didn't let us see in America. There's a lot of good writing on film, and conversely, there are less magazines. Film Comment is really one of the few left in America. And there's been Cahiers, of course, and Positif and all those, but it's really gone to the internet now, as probably any magazine will tell you. It's like the newsstand sales. But for film, what I miss is people discussing film. In the 60s, and even in the 70s, we would go to the movies, and then we'd immediately go off and talk about it. We'd go to a bar and talk about what we saw and analyze it and argue about it and stuff. And I just don't see that happening very much anymore, outside of maybe a festival. And I think partly it's the movies are just not that interesting to talk about because they're all the same. As I said, there are so many other stimuli around for people to be interested in. But I think one of the most rewarding things for me when I was growing up was give and take about film with my friends and people who didn't like a film, and explaining why they didn't like it and why I did, and trying to convince them and convert them and all that kind of thing. And I think that's very positive, and I miss it.